from what witnesses have testified, but with a little bit of encouragement and, urging, she would agree, yeah, okay, fine. I'll come have a cup of coffee or a breakfast or a glass of wine. I can absolutely see this happening.
There were 3 different women who Phil Spector had threatened with a gun. I think it was unusual as well that, in fact, those stories were admitted into the trial. When you saw that, what were you thinking? Did it give you hope at that point that he would be convicted?
It was everything. I mean, it was everything. It was such a remarkable evidence of the historical behavior of this psychopath, or for lack of a better term. It was everything. And I know what I learned at the time is that a lot of times judges don't allow prior bad acts witnesses, which is what they're called, prior bad acts witnesses. They don't allow them to testify. But in this case, the judge deemed it appropriate because I believe, and these are just my words, they're not legal definitions, but I believe that they were so indicative and so precisely and closely identical to what he was being accused of and what the evidence, the preponderance of evidence had shown to be the case, that the judge allowed it in. And it was just remarkable. It was as if they gave us a smoking gun.
But it was a mistrial that Phil Spector first went through. What was that like? Because the jury could not agree and a mistrial was declared. That was in the first trial when there was this huge public appetite following this case.
So that was devastating. It was absolutely on every level, emotionally devastating for everybody. And all I can say is Alan Jackson is a hero for all of us.
And that was the lawyer who was prosecuting, which of course Lana's family and you were very close to, because he went back to trial.
He did not have to take it to trial a second time. He also could have passed the baton to somebody else to do it, but he was so absolutely determined to see justice be served in this case that he was willing to go through it again himself. And he gave us confidence. And when you listen to the interviews and everything that transpired after the first trial, and the court of public opinion, the court of public opinion also supported it.
And Phil Spector was eventually convicted of Lana's murder in 2009. He did die in prison in 2021. When you heard that he died, what went through your mind?
You know, it was just another day. Whether he died or not was not going to impact my life it wasn't going to bring Lana back. He got the justice that he deserved. He was locked up. He, for all intents and purposes, must have had just a miserable life from that point on, even though it was also seemingly miserable prior to that for a lot of reasons. I wasn't happy it happened, but it was okay.
And Lana now, I know you're still close with her family. I know you celebrate her life every year. Perhaps tell our listeners a little bit about how you celebrate her life and how you remember her now.
Well, I remember her daily. I think about her often. I celebrate our friendship. I have moments where I feel her presence and I see us laughing and I see us dancing and singing and just giggling. She was such a joy and such a generous spirit. She was such a pleasure to be around. And so I feel her in my life constantly. The family and our close circle of friends, every year on her birthday, most years we try to get together and we have dinners, just however we can be together, and just again celebrate the love that we have for each other and the love that we have for Lana.
Nuna there was talking to Neely Hudson, the best friend of Lana Clarkson. And Spector is available to watch on Sky Documentaries and streaming service now. It's New Year and many of you may be going through your home, your wardrobe, having a good old declutter. That includes me. I am currently going through my heap of saris, in fact, around 7 yards of silk, chiffon, cotton, wondering whether to keep, donate or reversion. Well, a first of its kind show at the Design Museum in London entitled The Offbeat Sari has got me thinking twice about letting go of these garments. It brings together more than 90 items that have been loaned by designers and studios across India to tell the story of what has been called a fashion revolution. The garment, whose history dates back over 5,000 years, is evolving into a modern expression of identity with the rise of sari-wearing influences and even the hashtag sari not sorry. My next guest, Priya Kanchandani, is curating the exhibition. Good to have you with us, Priya.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Talk us through your exhibition. How can an item that is 5,000 years old be trailblazing?
That is a very good question, but it is. The way in which the sari is being experimented with today is absolutely astonishing. It's probably going through its biggest reinvention in its 5,000-year history, if it's possible to track that. It's, I guess, the sheer diversity of its textures that we're going to be showing, the shapes, the materialities, the architectures, and the way in which designers are playing with new materials. We're seeing saris woven from steel, stitched from hand distressed to denim, knotted, pleated, belted, saris that are worn in protests, in celebrations, or even on a daily commute. But essentially, the sari is being radically reimagined, and that's taking place by the work of designers, by wearers, and also by makers, and I think they're really adapting it for what is a diverse and contemporary world.
Steel and denim. I'm not sure I'd be able to put one of those on, but it's important to say, isn't it, that sari is well experimented with to an extent already. Each part of India has its own way of putting on a sari, but there are stereotypes associated with wearing a sari. Talk us through them and how they have changed.
Well, I think there's stereotypes.
Who discusses her work on Strictly and X Factor and introduces us to her dance inspiration, Janet Jackson. Oti Mabuse's Dancing Legends is in half an hour. Before that, on Radio 4, the first of the episodes of the Shamima Begum story, presented by Josh Baker.
Okay, so take me through the day you leave.
I woke up early in the morning, really early, like maybe 5, 6 o'clock, because our flight left at like 12 o'clock. We just wanted to be there early. I had to make an excuse as to why I was going. It was during the holidays, so I was just like, I have extra classes that I need to go to because I have my GCSEs coming up, and my mom believed me. She walked me to the bus stop. I just stood there with her, just being quiet and stuff. She was just staring at me and not saying anything. I just said bye to her and I got on the bus and I left. I feel really guilty, obviously, not giving her a better goodbye, knowing that I would probably never see her again. I just got on the bus to Khadijah's house, picked her up, we went and met Amira, and then we just went to the airport. Our bags were already somewhere else, like hidden somewhere else.
And had ISIS told you to do that?
Yeah.
At the airport?
Mm-hmm.
What's going through your head?
I felt like I was not inside my body. I felt like a dream almost. That was one of the scariest moments of my life. Just handing the passport over to the man and him just like not even looking at it, just gliding it past and handing it back to me and telling me to go. Like, I probably looked guilty, but he just did not even look at me to see that I looked guilty. And my friends looked scared too because of what was happening.
Do you think you're ever coming back to Britain?
Really, at that time, I just was not thinking. My mind was like completely blank. But I guess, yes, I thought this is the last time I'm going to see the UK.
Does that worry you?
I mean, in a way, I felt kind of relieved.
So these are the images of the girls that the police have released. They're very young, they're 15, so they're still in school. I've had several conversations with various individuals with the police and the local authority as well. It's been kind of manic since I woke up this morning.
It's February 2015, and I'm in East London Mosque. I've been here for months filming a documentary. This is Salman. It's head of communication. Unhinged hatred does to you, and the reasons that lie behind the unhinged hatred directed at this couple would detain us for a lot more than an hour, although obviously misogynoir, which is a word I was only introduced to as a consequence of discussing Meghan Markle's treatment by the British media and establishment, is a large part of it. It extends inevitably to her brother, so there it is. Those three reasons are horrible. What he actually said bears no resemblance whatsoever to what we were told he said by newspapers. And the reason why that happened is because they don't care what he said. They don't want to find out what he actually said, because that would rob them of the opportunity to attack him with what they say he said, but he didn't. That's pretty scary, all right? Now, if you're talking about whether or not a footballer's wife is leaking stories to a newspaper about another footballer's wife, it's hilarious and it doesn't matter. Or whether you're just misrepresenting what a game show contestant or a reality television contestant has done, that also can seem trivial until, of course, a presenter takes her own life in some contexts, in some well-documented examples. So the stakes are always high when you're playing with people's truth. But when you're actually taking the same line as the Taliban on a misrepresentation of what a British military hero said, you're scum. That's not a word I use very often, but you are. It's unthinkable to me that you could have woken up this morning and found yourself on the same side of the fence on how this story has been treated and reported. I am not for a moment suggesting that you would agree with the Taliban about anything else, because I don't know you. But you've rolled out a red carpet for Andrew Potato while attacking Prince Harry, so we're going to disagree about quite a lot of things. And here's a big one. If you woke up this morning and found yourself on the same side of the fence, that's the Taliban when it comes to the misreporting and misrepresentation of a story so easy to establish that you only have to read a book that has just become the best-selling non-fiction book in history. You need help, don't you? But you're not going to realise you need help, because every time you turn the telly on or flick on the radio or open up a newspaper, loads of people agree with you. And a quick word about some of the military experts used to support the misrepresentation of the story. It's funny because we never get the opportunity to talk to military experts about how the media works. Some of them know, some of them exploit it, some of them are just as cynical as the people that pay them to come on their programs or to contribute to their newspaper articles. Telling them what Harry has said. So they'll read a couple of lines and they'll say he's boasting, which is, well, what do you think about Prince Harry? 0345 6060973. But the second question is, and I really would love to hear your answer to this. I'm certainly not here to criticise you. God knows, contempt for the con men, compassion for the conned. If I ever get a tattoo, that would probably be what it is. Why did you fall for it? What was it what position had you been put into, or had you been gaslit into or manipulated into, that when they came along, when the Mail and the Murdoch press came along and told you completely untrue things about a book that was going to become available 24 hours later, why did you fall for it? Why did you go along with it? 0345 6060973 is the number that you need. And I may ask, what's it like to deal with someone like Helen? Someone who can hear all of that, who can see all of this, who can literally have a piece of moon rock in her hand and claim that it's made of cheese. 0345 6060973 is the number that you need.
This is LBC.
I've just sold my car.
All right.
I got a quote in 30 seconds from We Buy Any Car. Drove to my local branch in 13 minutes. And cash is getting sent to my bank.
Oh, nice.
Just sold my car to We Buy Any Car.
Just sold my car to We Buy Any Car. To find out how much your car's worth in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Admin fee may apply. For more information, visit WeBuyAnyCar.com/info.
Ready to deal with your debt in 2023? An individual voluntary arrangement from Credit Fix could help. Write off up to 81% of your unsecured debt, significantly reduce monthly repayments, and have more money left over each month. With over 15,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, Credit Fix could help you to a brighter financial future. Just text DEBT to 66777. Text DEBT to 66777 now. Terms apply. May not be suitable for all. Can affect credit rating. Free advice at moneyhelper.org.uk.
Running a successful business comes with many different challenges, but right now the need for good business advice is more important than ever. At Barnes Rofe Accountants, we are helping our clients adapt their business strategies by looking at the best ways to build resilience in an ever-changing world. To arrange a free consultation with one of our partners and find out how we can support you and your business, visit barnesrofe.com. Barnes Rofe, clever accountants for business.
With Pension B, you can combine, contribute and withdraw online. We helped Andrew bring multiple workplace pensions together into one new online plan.
I chose Pension B because I was looking for a way to consolidate a large number of pensions. It was really easy to sign up. I had to enter my details. Pension B did the rest.
We're making pensions simple so everyone can look forward to a happy retirement. Be pension confident. Join at pensionb.com. When investing, capital is at risk.
Now that the holiday season is over, many timeshare owners are facing a winter of expensive upkeep. With rising inflation, now more than ever, we need to look after our money. If you own a timeshare in Spain or the Canaries and bought it after 5th of January 1999, you may have been missold. mytimeshareclaim.co.uk could help you exit your contract and receive substantial compensation. To find out more, text ASSIST to 78900. That's ASSIST to 78900 today.
James O'Brien on LBC.
It is 22 minutes after 11 and it is now absolutely clear, categorically clear, that Prince Harry never boasted about killing Taliban, and neither was his revelation that he had done so remotely close to news. So why did the British media spend 48 hours pretending that both of those things had happened? And why, and I know this is tough, but I'll be gentle, why do you think you fell for it? Maria's in Leicester. Maria, what would you like to say?
Hi, James. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your excellent coverage of this, because not many people have been speaking about it.
It's all there. It's easy to find. Well, you get the quotes from the books last Monday. We read it out on January the 8th, I think, even.
Exactly. And I would say this, the answer to your question is this. When the leaks came out from Spain regarding this book, the UK press were into an absolute frenzy. They wanted to put a narrative out there that Harry is bad. Well, the lies that the British media have told have now come to light. And in this book, which I have read, is an absolute stunning memoir. I've never been so compelled to read much books, but this was excellent. And you know why? The British people will not be fooled. 400,000 people
you say
in
that.
the UK.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
but that's not a lot of people. I mean, listen, it's big enough to be #1 in the book charts for a year on the sales from just 1 week, as Richard Osman, who knows a bit about best-selling books, has pointed out. But it's not a very big proportion of the country yet.
Well, it will grow, because you know what? People need to wake up and think, why are they trying to push this narrative that Meghan and Harry are bad? What are they trying to cover up? You have Prince Andrew sitting right there, and I don't... You know what upsets me, James? And I'll be very honest, and I hope you allow me to be honest in a respectful manner.
Of course.
This coverage, I'm a black woman.
Yes.
This coverage of Meghan, I haven't seen the worst sex offender, child molester, be treated in the way and given the coverage that she has been given. And that to me is concerning. That's very concerning.
You're not speaking about anybody specific when you say that.
No. I'm speaking generally.
In terms of column inches, I would completely agree with you.
And that's disturbing to me, is it not, James?
We always write about members, even if we're writing positive stuff. We'd probably write more positive stuff about a member of the royal family than we would a World Cup winning football captain. But I just offer that up by way of context and not in any way defence. But yes, I mean, you only have to look at that Jeremy Clarkson column, I think, to prove your point almost beyond any challenge whatsoever. I hate her more than Rosemary West, an actual serial killer, and I dream of watching her stripped naked, parading through the streets of this country while everyone throws excrement at her and shouts shame. He didn't, I mean, by his own admission, he wouldn't write that about Rosemary West. The man's not very well.
Much. And all these things are proving Harry's point. Today on a morning show, a lady went on there who's apparently a best friend of Camilla, trying to say that Camilla's the best thing since sliced bread. Well, I'm sorry. I remember a very different story not so long ago. So this whole leaking and briefing is happening right before our eyes.
Let me take you back then to that beginning of your call, if I may, and the question of why they want to destroy Harry and Meghan.
Listen, James, Harry and Meghan decided to leave.
It's chicken and egg, though. They decided to leave as a consequence of what we're talking about.
Yeah, but they don't see like that. Harry and Meghan are not meant to survive. They're not meant to be happy. They're not meant to earn their own money. They're not meant to give back the money for Frogmore Cottage. They're not meant to have good friends and, you know, Tyler Perry as their child's government. That is not what they wanted to happen. They wanted them to suffer out there and come crawling back to them asking them for bread. Well, they're not. They're not. Everything that Meghan and Harry have touched has become a success.
Because if they don't toe the line, if they don't play the game, then why should anybody else? Do you think that's part of it? Is that underpins the figure? Because they're frightened of something, and it's hard to see what they're frightened of.
But what they're frightened of a lot of things that Harry knows and he's not said. They're also setting an example of them to the younger members of the royal family. If you leave, this is what's going to happen to you. Because a good point that Tyler Perry said in the Netflix thing is only an abuser would cut off money, leave somebody stranded in the middle of Canada with no means to security. What family member does that? Surely we'd let them get settled and give them the things they need, and especially in the middle of a pandemic, to make them safe. They have no regard to their safety.
And you're more across the detail than I am. I don't think they were selling the big issue out in Canada or anything like that when they first moved there. But no, you're sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, this is what Tyler Perry said. He said that he had to make them, you know, to give them a home. It's not they have money, yes, but the security that they need in that situation is very specialized.
Yes, I would agree with all of that. I'm just conceding or stating that I'm not as across all of these details as you clearly are, but I am across the details of what he actually wrote about the Taliban and what he wrote about the 25. So I wonder if I can nudge you to speculate. Hang on, why do people fall for it? Is it simply because of the weight of misinformation that's being directed at?
Yeah. Yeah, because the war reporters, I'm not going to name any of them, but
no, I'd rather you didn't. I probably know them.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, they and the media have been peddling this for about 4 to 5 years. So if anyone will tell you, I'm a child support worker. Okay. Anyone that keeps on dripping negative information in a child's ear for so many years will become saying, well, it must be true. They're telling us on this program, they're telling us, the war reporters are telling us. You had war reporters retweet the Taliban tweet.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is, isn't it? Well, I think it is. I mean, I get a bit of a tizzy at times like this as well. It's a lonely old business in the British media pointing this stuff out, and we're not in any way equating journalists to member of the Taliban. Just on this particular issue, they've come down on the same side. But retweeting the Taliban as if to say, ha, look what you've done, Harry. Here we are promoting and amplifying the Taliban.
Yeah, and then getting the veterans to
I think you have to report that, actually. You have to report the Taliban's response, actually. I don't know that is necessarily proof of anything more malignant. You have to report.
Yeah, but the point is, that's the level that the media have got to in this country, where they'd quote that. And that, to me, is very disturbing. And I'm glad that the veteran community, especially the victims community, are coming out strong behind Harry and saying, listen, this is the man who saved our lives in terms of gave us purpose.
And that is the point. His rationalisation of his taking of life is there as a guiding light to people struggling with it and not able to access the sort of help that he's been able to access.
Yeah, and also this thing about Harry and Meghan. I don't want to be rude, but what does William and Kate actually do? Because I know what Meghan and Harry have done, the Grenfell Tower, the Invictus Games, World Child, which they still support, smart work. But what actually are the working roles doing? I mean, if this is an attempt to sabotage Invictus Games and get trolls to attack charities, it's not actually working. You know,
and of course, one of the charities you mentioned, and the other one being Centobelli, are receiving 6-figure sums, or I think it was 7-figure sums, as a consequence of the books. A consequence of the book's sales. Thank you, Maria. A lot of love for you coming in via text, actually. Gary picking me up on that comment about the Anthony Lloyd in the Times writing about soldiers keeping a tally. Listen, that's the headline. He does, Gary, explain that often you're not able to keep a tally. The point about an Apache is actually, I'll read you what Harry said because it was news to me. You in the days of the laptops and the way that the technology in the Apache actually work, here it is, most soldiers can't tell you precisely how much death is on their ledger. In battle conditions, there's often a great deal of indiscriminate firing, but in the age of Apaches and laptops, everything I did in the course of 2 combat tours was recorded, time-stamped. I could always say how many enemy combats I'd killed. He explains everything, and context is explanation. To take away the context and pick upon the stuff that the Taliban is most likely to object to and print it in a British newspaper and broadcast it on British television stations unchallenged and then endorsed by military experts who haven't seen the context, who haven't read the book, who haven't been availed of the proper facts. It's pretty gross, right? I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I'd like to be wrong on this. 0345 60973, but I don't think I am. Holly Harris is here now with your headlines.
MP Andrew Bridgen has had the Conservative whip removed over comments he made about the rollout of the coronavirus vaccine. Chief Whip Simon Hart says he crossed a line, adding misinformation about the jab causes harm and costs lives. An investigation has started. Multiple US media sources are reporting a computer outage at the Federal Aviation Administration has grounded all flights in the United States. The FAA says it's working to restore the system. The GMB union says some ambulance workers are being forced to work 15-hour shifts because of a lack of staff and support. For the second time in the space of a month, thousands of ambulance staff in the GMB and Unison are on strike across England and Wales. The weather, a windy day with a mix of sunny spells and blustery showers for most parts of the UK, heavy and thundery showers in the west and longer spells of rain in the south, a high of 13 Celsius.
LBC.
Do you hear that? That's not just the sound of fresh coffee. That's the sound of free fresh coffee. Because my Waitrose members can once again treat themselves to a free coffee from the self-service kiosk with any in-store purchase. Oh, just don't forget your reusable cup. Waitrose, food to feel good about.
Selected stores subject to availability. Excludes cafe. Full T's and C's at waitrose.com/mywaitrose.
Sail the world a different way with Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. Our award-winning itineraries are unusual and imaginative, bursting with local culture, history and wildlife. And aboard our smaller ships, the atmosphere is always warm and friendly. It'd be easy to follow the crowds, but we never will, because this is our way, the Olsen way. Book by the 31st of January for free drinks or spend on selected sailings. Visit fredolsencruises.com for more information. T's and C's apply.
If you get breathless easily, if you're feeling exhausted, maybe have swollen ankles, it might be a symptom of heart failure. So talk to your GP, who could help with the diagnosis so it can be managed. Pumping Marvellous's Beat HF campaign and Fighting Failure from Novartis are working together to raise awareness of heart failure. Find out more at pumpingmarvellous.org.
Sponsored and funded with editorial input by Novartis UK.
At Kia, we believe to find inspiration, you have to move. Our Kia Inspire event features exclusive offers on selected models like the Kia Exceed, Sportage, Stonic and Picanto. Get your first 2 services free, 7.9% APR representative and up to £2,500 PCP deposit contribution. Plus these models will be available sooner than you think. Search Kia Inspire event. Kia. Movement that inspires. T's and C's apply. Petrol models only. Kia Finance ends 28th of February.
James O'Brien on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It is 11:34 and you are listening to James O'Brien on LBC, where the question of how on earth the word boasting could ever have appeared in coverage of what Prince Harry has written about events first reported 10 years ago remains acute. What were the newspapers playing at, and how did you fall for it? I appreciate that second question is unlikely to prompt a flurry of calls to the programme. Of course, I suppose you're also welcome to tell me that you haven't fallen for anything, and he was actually boasting, and I don't know how you do that. You've heard what he says, and you've heard what he wrote, but I guess it's a bit Brexity, isn't it, sometimes, an admission of having been misled or conned. 11:35, and no one knows better than I do how hard people find it to do that. Mike's in Northwich in Cheshire. Mike, what would you like to say?
Good morning, James. Yeah, I mean, firstly, let me outline my position on the royal family. I couldn't give two hoots in a way. I'm not a royalist, I'm not an anti-royalist, they're just part of our society. So I won't be buying Harry's book. I also don't read the right-wing press. My politics are more aligned with your own than going out and buying the Telegraph or the Mail.
It's not the right-wing press on this one. It's every media outlet in the country, radio, TV, newspapers. They've all been pretty much towing the boasting line for 48 hours.
Well, one thing I would say, and it's just a slightly different slant on this, and I never thought he was boasting, so that's the first thing. You know, he's speaking factually about what happened when he was in the Afghanistan war. What I feel is, unfortunately, we do live in a world of extremism, political extremism, religious extremism, etc. Were his comments not ill-advised in that, you know, not necessarily an attack on Harry or his children or his family, but a more generalised attack, such as the Manchester Arena, such as the London Bridge, such as all the things we've seen the last 5 years? Could he have stirred that kind of feeling and left the country with a security risk for a retaliation attack?
I understand your question, and I also understand that you are not. I mean, really, we're talking about him being portrayed as boastful, and I appreciate that that's not the question that you found in to answer. So let's say that all of your points are valid. Why did the media not make them in 2013 when he first told this story? Why does the front of the Sun say Hero Prince in missile strike on Commander in 2013, and then in 2023, in response to identical detail, is portraying him as profoundly foolish and dangerous? That's the question you need to answer, because that's the nature of this phone-in, Mike.
Going back to 2013,
yes.
Well, there's a couple of points I'd like to make on that.
Okay.
Going back to 2013, we hadn't had, I don't think we'd had, I'm talking from memory, the scale of terrorist attacks that we'd seen in the last 5 or 6 years.
We'd had bigger ones.
Had we?
Yeah.
Okay, London 2005.
We had 7/7 and we'd had 9/11, mate.
Yeah.
That's why we were fighting the Taliban.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't want to give you a history lesson, but that one's not going to wash, is it? So what else have you got?
The other one is, the media can write and be as irresponsible as they wish to be, as we all know.
Yes.
This has come in an autobiography written by Harry's unfair hand, albeit ghostwritten, and they are words that he has approved for publication into, whatever.
Yes. And they're very measured and careful words. And again, I appreciate you haven't phoned in to answer the questions I was asking, but the question is, why would the newspapers misrepresent those very carefully weighed words? Why would they print an interpretation of this story that is a million miles away from the words that he actually considered and put to paper?
Yeah, possibly.
But it's not possibly, it's a question. Why would they do it? I mean, most soldiers can't tell you precisely how much death is on their ledger. In battle conditions, there's often a great deal of indiscriminate firing, but in the age of Apaches and laptops, everything I did in the course of 2 combat tours was recorded, time-stamped. I could always say precisely how many enemy combatants I'd killed, and I felt it vital never to shy away from that number. Among the many things I learned in the army, accountability was near the top of the list. What's irresponsible about that?
Well,
it's the opposite of irresponsible. He's literally taking responsibility for what he's done. In his own words.
Is there an element of post-rationalisation here? Because in the transcript, I admit I haven't got the book, the transcript...
Well, we're on a bit of a hiding to nothing here, because you don't want to answer any of the questions that I'm asking, and you haven't read the book, and you think you're completely immune to the right-wing interpretations of the story that seem to have miraculously informed your own position.
I've seen a transcript of the passage in question.
Yes.
And there is
which bit do you object to?
Post-rationalisation in the interview he did last night, because he doesn't mention support for veterans in that passage.
He doesn't need to.
Well, that's your interpretation.
But I've written 2 books, Mike, and I promise you, at very, very few points, if any points, and certainly not on every page or every chapter, do I say the reason why I'm writing this bit of the book is in order to ... I just write it, mate. I know why I'm writing it. You don't. Hopefully you'll work it out when you read it. So what do you think his reason was for very carefully explaining and taking responsibility for killing Taliban then, if it wasn't to A, deal with his own situation, and B, help people who can't get the help he's received to deal with his own situation?
It's an autobiography, and he's just telling you about his life.
Yes. And for a reason.
Money?
Okay, there we go. But you don't take any of your leads from the right-wing media? And you don't care about the royal family, and you're completely objective and unbiased on this issue? Mate, you've wasted both of our time. Carl's in Dulwich. Carl, what would you like to say?
Yeah, hello, James. I believe that the reason the
be ambivalent. You can't say I like all of them. They all seem a bit damaged. I'm sympathetic to all of them.
Exactly, yeah.
Because of what's happened to Meghan in particular, someone has to take responsibility for that, which means the people who've been part of attacking her can never really say, oh, Harry and Meghan are all right, and Harry and Meghan themselves can never really say, okay, let's call a truce now, because someone's got to take responsibility for what was done to her and to a lesser extent him. And just imagine if it was your partner that had been exposed to what she was exposed to. There would be blood.
I don't see Harry, after all he said, I don't see him, calling for a truce or...
I think he would. I think he would, as long as someone takes responsibility for what happens. As long as somebody says, as long as there's an acknowledgement of the reality that he has been through. And listen, some of his recollections will be wrong. So he might have persuaded himself that things happened that didn't happen. Nobody's infallible. But his human fallibility in a complex world is never going to be the equivalent to the vitriol that has been directed at him. And even if he has a slightly, what's the word, exaggerated idea of how much collusion there was between family members or men in suits in the various palaces and the media, even if he's got a slightly exaggerated idea about that.
Basildon. so I can keep more of my returns. And I value that my investment firm has its clients' best interests at heart.
Join the 30 million investors around the world who value getting Vanguard value.
Took the words
right out of my mouth. Vanguard. Value to investors. When investing, your capital is at risk.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with James O'Brien.
It is 11:50 and you are listening to James O'Brien on LBC. James, is it our old friend British exceptionalism again? Harry has rejected the nationalistic Brexit idiocy and been reflective about the British media and nation. How dare he? Yeah, I mean, it could be that. The problem is that that works for me psychologically on the family basis. Is that you can say whatever you want about your family, but if someone else slags them off, then we're going to have words. And the same works with the country in a way, in a slightly different way. So Harry somehow has ended up on a different side of the story from his own family, with lots of people who'll never meet any of them attacking him on behalf of the other bits of the family that he'll never ever meet. Jill writes, James, perhaps you could have a business card printed along these lines. James O'Brien, broadcaster of one-sided opinions to the populace. People with alternative views need not call in. I mean, they don't have to, Jill, but if they do, I will examine those views. And if you're going to begin by claiming that you've got no skin in the game at all and end by saying that he's done it for the money and is lying about why he did it, then obviously you're going to end up feeling a little bit embarrassed. That's not my fault. Margaret's in Enfield. Margaret, what would you like to say?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Margaret.
Hello, good morning, James. I wasn't going to call, but I have to, because I think, you know, what I'm seeing, and I'm going to call it Prince Harry has done, is just taking it to another level. The British media, they can't cope with where he's coming from.
Why not?
Because he's taken their narrative and he's turned it, and he's written his memoirs in such a way that is so dignified, confident, and he's out there on the media, interviews, and he's actually just rewriting the wrongs that have been done to him and his wife, and they just don't know what to do, because no longer are we going to be blinded by what the media and newspapers and social media tell us is the truth. We're actually going to go and seek it and find it out ourselves. And those who still will remain and say, well, he said this and he shouldn't have done this. I mean, it's almost like the Iraq War. Remember when they had the debate in Parliament and we had, Prime Minister Blair telling us what was going to happen if we didn't go to war? How many years later did we all know and find out that actually that was a lie? And so what Harry is doing from when we talk about with the Taliban in 2013 and what they said about him then, is that he has basically owned his own truth, and he's going to put it out there, and people will take it or not, but this dignified silence that is, the British way, as it were, or coming from...
It's not, though, is it? It's not dignified at all. You give permission to people and friends. Peter Hunt is brilliant on this. Everyone should follow Peter on Twitter. He's the only person with royal in his job description who is absolutely dedicated to the truth, I think.
Yeah. And this is not about the money. They can't cope with that. This is not about the money. This is about saying enough is enough. And, if you're going to write about me, then I'm going to respond. I'm not going to have this dignified silence and let people make up things about who I am and what I've done. I'm going to put it out there, and then people will judge me on the words that I have written. So even if they're
not even doing that, of course. They're judging him on a complete misrepresentation of the words that he's written. But as I say,
read his book.
Yeah, well, of course, read his book.
Read his book, because what they do is take out what they want us to believe, and what they want us to do. We are not going to, I'm not going to personally go down that particular road, because at the end of the day, what they have said has come to fruition as far as I'm concerned. And, it is now up to the king to rewrite those wrongs and to make some dignified response in terms of what even Jerry McClarkson has done, and that dignified, unacceptable silence, and what his son has gone through, because his son is saying, we can live in a world, right, where things can happen, but we have to speak out if we are going to be representative of that. And if we don't, then our privilege does not allow us to stay silent, and that is what he is doing.
Listen, considering you didn't want to ring in, I was beginning to worry we were going to crash the news there, Margaret.
Sorry.
No, because I think people feel very strongly about it. And what I don't know whether people are pretending when they say, "Oh, I don't care, I've heard enough about it," because this is all about what the media does to our country. For me, at least, it is. I mean, listen, Prince Harry seems like a nice lad, and I'm admiring of pretty much all military veterans. But this is all about what an incredibly bent print media has done and continues to do to our country. And I used to say, if they can do it to junior doctors, they can do it to anyone. If they can do it to the King's son with a 10-year military career and 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, makes junior doctors look like public enemy number 1. Ben Kentish is here to queue up. Quite keen, if you don't mind, Ben, to return to that Transport Select Committee first and see how there's another MP who's had a swing at the 3 leaders of the major rail unions. Can we have a little listen to that and then catch up with you about what we're expecting to come up on PMQs? You know that Theo gets it right every single week.
Without fail.
His predictions I don't think he's ever got it right. All 6 questions, word for word. He's like Mystic Mech. So the pressure is on. Which MP is this? Which is the MP here that is talking to the leaders of the 3 rail unions? It's Greg Smith, another Conservative MP. You've heard Chris Loder have a go. Now it's Greg Smith's turn.
The damage has been envisaged in Whitehall by people who know very little about the railway. Rather than trying to get consent and evolution of the railway, they went for this great leap forward, and it's blown up in their faces. So the damage is being
this is Mick Lynch, obviously.
This administration, and they are inflicting the damage. They've also brought forward a set of legislation that they quickly abandoned on the future structure of the railway. There'll be a new transport minister that'll have another idea. So the damage is being that are in control.